So in terms of the emergency response, most of us are great about keeping our staff up to date with first aid. You know your evacuation procedures. What I want you to do is make sure that you have a few other things in responding to an emergency. Now this is footage provided to us by Queensland Police, and I don't do it to be opportunistic. I do it because it's important that you realise how quickly an event like this could come up on you. This is flooding in the Lockyer Valley. You'll see from the photograph, keep an eye on this little watershed here, this little water tank which is next to a small property. The water is beginning to come up into the field, flowing on from this little river here. In 11 minutes, the water tank is gone and the property needed to be fully evacuated. 11 minutes after that first photograph was taken. In 18 minutes, the property is completely consumed, and in 22 minutes, there is a kilometre of water across the property. So we always talk about having lots of time, having time to make good decisions. 22 minutes could be all you have to get everything you need out of your business, the people that you need to be contacting, told, and anyone who is within that vicinity to be made well aware that you do not want them coming anywhere near you. This is not the time for it. 22 minutes could be all that you have. So in thinking about that, I want you to do one thing for me today, and that is create a little thing we call the Go Pack. So a Go Pack is what you take with you if you have very little time to get out of your business, but it has all the things that you need. Quick show of hands already has something like that. A little kit, take, run and go, okay? For those of you who already have one, you should have one for your house and you should have one for your property, because you won't always have the time that you need. My wife and I often laugh about the story when our neighbour's kitchen caught on fire early in the morning, and she said to me, "Quick, grab the computer." I said, "What? The computer? Why?" She said, "It's got all the photographs of the kids on it." I'm like, "We have 2 kids. How about you get one and I get one, and we can take as many photos of those kids for the rest of their lives? How about that?" She's like, No, I'll get the 2 kids. How? I don't know. 2-year-old, 6-month-old, and you get the computer. So from that point on, we agreed. Portable hard drive was purchased that very next day. I do have responsibility for grabbing that, plus the big one. She gets the little one and her wedding ring, and we're out of our house. So we've set up a little Go Pack with a few little things in it. But I'll give you a tip on some things that you might want to have in a Go Pack for your business. So there's a little template in your business continuity plan. It's on page 7. If you haven't already got one, start to jot down at least 4 or 5 things that you will go back to your business and put into a Go Pack today, not tomorrow or the day after. Just make sure you've got them in your business today if you only have 22 minutes in which you need to get out of your property. And that could be something like the template you did today. It might be your list of employees, visitors or customers, suppliers details, details of your insurer, your insurance policy, key contacts within your organisation. Jason talked before about the cloud, being able to access your data. Not all of us use the cloud, so where's my business details? Where are my accounts? Where are my forwards? A first aid register or a first aid kit, an event log, some computer backups, spare keys, mobile phone, all of these things you might need in the event of an emergency. So while you're writing down the 4 or 5 things you're going to put into your kit when you get home, I'll tell you a little story about a Tourism Queensland employee going through Cyclone Louis. She's up in Airlie Beach. She got clever. She identified that after the cyclone, she would spend most of her time on the telephone. Her mobile phone would probably be the only thing that worked, and she knows she gets about a day's charge out of it. So she bought herself a car charger. She put a car full of petrol and she put some extra petrol in the garage, and she realised that if she was going to be running the car to charge the phone, she'd need to be able to get the garage up, and it's one of those electric automated ones, so she had to get somebody around to show her how to override the thing to get the garage door up so that she could run the car, make the phone calls and keep the business of Tourism Queensland in the region running. That's a very clever lady who did exactly what you need to do in a crisis situation. She knew just what she needed, and she'd thought through what it's actually going to be like in that situation. Brian raised some really important points. You need to be prepared for at least 2 to 3 days of all the food and water and supplies that you'll need for the people that you're responsible for. It's not just yourselves, it's also all the people that could be in your accommodation or who might be staying with you as part of an emergency accommodation situation. So thinking that through, 10 litres of water per person per day, and you're going to need food for those people and some basic supplies. And if you're in a hospitality environment, honestly, what will you be doing with them if the electricity is out? How will you keep those people entertained? Who's got the juggling and guitar skills? That'll be just what you need to create an entertaining environment for those people while they're with you. So the Go pack has got to have a number of things in it. The other story we learnt from Cyclone Larry and Louis and from Yasi is ATMs are there, but there's not much money coming out of them. So do I have cash, and how can I access that? So your Go pack might just have a little bit of spending money for things like petrol or some basic supplies, and know that in advance, if it is something like a flood or a cyclone, then everyone is going to be rushing around at the last minute trying to get their supplies. So where are you going to get yours from, and how much do you need? You don't want to be making that decision on the day. So a Go pack can be all important in getting just the right material together for your business. Get your Go pack together, and then we start our communication process. So only after we've assessed the situation, only after we've done whatever emergency steps are required, do we start to engage with communication. You've identified who's at the top of your tree. Now I want you to work through that contact hierarchy and make sure we've identified who's doing what jobs, what roles are the people who are going to be in your team playing, so that we can speed this process up. The trap to fall into is to try and do everything yourself. And what we'll do is we'll put up a list of some typical jobs that would need to be done in a crisis situation. And you'll very quickly see that you'd overload one person by doing all of those jobs. And we've only identified a small fraction of the things that need to be done. So you need to be able to delegate responsibility. And Alan raised a really important point before. Today is the day to identify whether the people you're going to be delegating to have the capacity to do that, and whether they need more skills or more support to do that. And if they do, then today, as part of your business plan, you need to identify how that's going to happen and how you're going to skill those people up to be there for you in a crisis situation. Particularly if they're the alternative, where we often think that won't happen, Murphy's Law would say that it will happen. So let's start thinking about how we're going to get those people engaged. So your contact hierarchy is that little page that you started before. What I want you to do now is spend some time. Put your primary and alternative at the top of your tree and start working through the jobs and the people who are going to be doing those jobs. One really easy way to do that is to work through the list of people who need to be contacted. So at the bottom of your hierarchy, why don't you identify the people that you want to be contacted? Your employees, your suppliers, your insurer, your owners, your business partners. Who's going to need to be contacted? Write those along the bottom, and then work through your contact hierarchy and identify who's going to be calling those people, and then also what sort of jobs are going to be needed to be done by the people in your contact team. So who's doing media? Who's doing reporting internally? Who's contacting the suppliers? Who's contacting the staff? Who's understanding your insurance and your insurance obligations? Who's recording information for your business? So your contact hierarchy is on page 6. It's just a nice big open space. You'll have a few goes at this. You won't get it right the first time. So a bit of space for you to have a first go at a contact hierarchy, allocate the jobs, and I'll walk around now and work through with you the people who are in that team and the roles that they play.